Hey, it's Alex from Inside Gadgets, and today we're going to be looking at the wireless Game Boy controller. It allows you to use any Game Boy or Game Boy Advance system, DS or DS Lite as a wireless game controller. We've got two transmitters available. We've got the standard Game Boy one and the Game Boy Advance. The only difference really is that the Game Boy Advance one lets you use the L and the R buttons. For the receivers, we've got USB, NES, Super Nintendo, Nintendo 64, GameCube, and Wii, which should also support the NES and SNES Mini. So let's power it on and see what we get on the screen. So once we have it powered on, there's not really much on the screen, just a little dot appears when we press a button. You can hold down the B button and it will show you the keys being pressed. And if you hold down the select button, it basically doesn't refresh the screen, so you should get a little bit more battery life. Let's turn on the system without the Game Boy powered on. We're going to see a quick blink of the LED, and then we're going to see it blink every half a second or so. That just means it's searching for the transmitter signal. So let's turn on the Game Boy Advance, and then we should see the LED stay lit. And you're pretty much ready to play. You can play a 2 or more player game if the game supports it. Each user just needs their own transmitter and receiver, and to make sure that they're on their own RF channel, otherwise it may conflict with each other. For most systems, there are some hidden button mapping options predefined in the receiver. Firstly, we power on the Game Boy, and in this case I want to map the Game Boy L button to be the Super Nintendo A button, so I hold down the L key, power on the system. Once the receiver LED lights up, I can let go of the L key and that button mapping is now in place. If you have the transmitter on and the receiver keeps blinking, you may have to resync them. To resync them, make sure both devices are switched off. Turn on the Game Boy and hold down the start button. It will bring us to a configuration menu. You can choose any channel or address that you like. Press A to start transmitting. Switch on the system and you should notice two high intensity blinks of the LED. That means it's now synced up. We can go ahead and power cycle our Game Boy, and it should be ready to use. If you've tried resyncing and the receiver light is still blinking like it doesn't have a signal, you may have to clean out the contacts on the Game Boy cartridge and the Game Boy itself and try to resync them again. If you notice that your key presses aren't registering properly, you may need to change the RF channel that you're on. You can also change the packets per refresh, which is once every 2 milliseconds. Having a lot of wireless devices around can affect the signal.